for me? Hi, guys. Brother, thanks for sitting front row. That is commitment. Okay, this is the end of the day. You poor bastards. Thank you very much indeed for your persistence. I need two things to happen here. One, we need this room to be hotter. Just kidding. But I would really prefer it if we could huddle up. It's the end of the day. Is it possible? Can you please stay with me for the full 45 minutes? I'm going to give you some IP. I'm going to give away a bunch of stuff I do normally in closed rooms, but I'm going to do it here, and I rejigged it last night. So if you guys at the back, can you just come forward? I know culturally this doesn't work for you. I'm making you very uncomfortable, but welcome to my world. Thank you. Thanks for smiling back, so I appreciate that. If I can also, can you just give me my slides? Don't worry about the holding slide. Let's not be so formal. Just give it to me right now, if you don't mind. Don't worry about the audio. I'm okay to live without it today. Just give me my slides, though. Thanks, guys. You got it? All right, we're going to be there in a minute. Okay, so anybody come yesterday? Couple of us, great. I'm going to do a quick recap on that, just so I can level set, because I really am going to change it out. I had an interesting experience yesterday. I travel a bit. I do about 700,000 miles a year. I travel hundreds of days. I spend a lot of time in solitude. And particularly when I travel Asia and Middle East, I don't get a lot of feedback from you guys. I don't get a lot of feedback from an audience until I leave. And then you harass the hell out of me, which is amazing. So what I wanted to do today is just two things. One, I didn't give you my slides, so I'll put up a QR code at some point and give you my slides. So just send me a message. I'll send you all my decks, because you're going to want today's deck, I think. And not because we're going to talk about Fintech and all the stuff that these smart people can tell you over the next 5 days. I'm done with that. I'm happy to talk about that with you until I'm blue in the face. But one thing that I'm getting from you, and true or false, you guys can deny this if you like, people want tools. It's like, I don't want to sit here and just absorb all of this for 8 hours and walk away and think, what did I get away from that? It's a lot you have to deal with. So I'm going to give you some tools. Does anybody run teams in here? Teams of people? Yeah, okay. Does anybody here have to run brainstorms? Great, yeah, okay. So I'm going to give you some tools to become better creatives. We can talk about AI as much as you want, and we can use this as a feedback session because it's small, and I may reconfigure this room. But let me plow through some presentations first, okay? Are we good with that? Is the room okay with that? Are you guys okay if I rejig that? Okay. Cameraman, are you okay? I don't know what your job is, Boo, but are you okay if I rejig shit? Yeah, okay, cool. All right. I'm Shingy. G'day. We'll get to names later, I hope, if it stays intimate. Let me just say, though, if nothing changes, guess what happens? Nothing changes. So the reality is, if nothing changes, nothing changes. And we're in a place today, that's my QR code, by the way, so if you want to grab that real quick, snap it, and I'll see you on the interwebs. But do send me a message. I'll say hello to you. I'll send you my decks, drop you on an email. I send out stuff all the time. But I'm in the mode of giving away stuff, like IP. So I spoke about this yesterday a little bit. Most of us work, but most of us don't enjoy what we do. But I do hope you enjoy your work. And the reality for that is, if we think about the industry that we're part of, 80% of your waking life is going to be spent at work. What I didn't tell you yesterday is that's 90,000 hours. So your career is 90,000 hours of either love or indifference or hate. And I would rather you be in the very happy space of that. So what does that really mean? If you're spending 90,000 hours, and we're in this world of constant fuzzy, what you do find, and I've found this already, so I did a couple of panels across the road. People are talking about mental health. They're talking about taking time off. They're talking about digital detoxes. They're talking about things that we didn't really talk about 2, 3, 4 years ago, certainly pre-pandemic days. True? So I'm seeing that in the vernacular. So I just wanted to give you this stat. We are much more comfortable today having counselors. Now, if I did a presentation like this in the US and asked if anybody had a counselor, the vast majority of people's hands go up. Therapist or coaches or whatever they call it. Is it a thing here? Not so much. Ish. There's an ish. I'm from Australia, so we just drink ourselves stupid over there. That's what we do. And it is what it is. But there's this tidal wave happening. You know, I do fundamentally believe we're disconnected. And I talked about this yesterday, so if you're new to this presentation, welcome. If you're not, let me just give you this so we can get an update. When we were hunters and gatherers, we'd spend 15 hours a week working. Now that we have all these new technological fandangles, guess what? We spend more time working. True or false? You are working on a 40-hour week, you're told. That's the biggest lie I've ever heard, dude. I mean, it's crazy. I think I rack about 100 hours, and it's not good. It's not that healthy. However, this is important to us. When you think about brand purpose, which was a discussion I also talked on today, most people confuse that. So let me just level set. There are 3 things that most companies on planet Earth try and tell you that they have. And what are they? One is a mission, yes, vision, or values. Then what's that called? And the latest buzzword is purpose. Now, most people interchange those 3 things, and they are not interchangeable. And let me tell you why. Let me tell you what they are first. Anybody know what brand purpose is? Or pretend to know? So I don't think most people know what brand purpose is. Let me tell you what these are. A mission is what you do. Values is how you do it. And purpose is why you do it. That's why most companies don't understand their value, because they don't want to ask themselves why they're doing this. And most people say, oh, we want to give back to the earth. Do you? Really? Okay, let's talk about that, Holmes. That's not necessarily what I see. When I say to people, what's a brand that's purpose valued? Most people say Patagonia. Great. Guess what? Probably nobody in here works for Patagonia. We work for other companies, and primarily they're in the tech sector. Couldn't be colder, dude. Very cold. So we have to think about purpose differently. So I'm going to give you some tools to help you sort of unpack some of this. I don't care whether you're a leader, whether you do brainstorms, whether you group think. I just want to unpack some tools, okay? Just do things a bit differently. I just made a decision to do something different today, okay? But stay with me. Trends, comfort. People are looking for comfort. Now, in the middle of the pandemic, we could not get enough ice cream in the US. Guess what happened? Ben & Jerry's came out with a drone delivery service. Amazing. Just to be able to get people on-demand confectionery. That's just the way we work. I actually think that whole category is a placebo, by the way. It is not going to penetrate the rest of the world. We're going to have other delivery services that are road-enabled, not sky-enabled. Convenience. Okay, so let me give you a quick data point on this. This is a pandemic data point. Middle of the pandemic, nobody's going to stores. Louis Vuitton decided they want to go to people's fancy pants' house. And they built this caravan. And as it rolls up to your house, you can step out front of your door and go straight into a boutique and buy. Talk about convenience. That's amazing. And the value of the first transaction of this caravan was in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's unbelievable. And that's how things are going to happen. So when you're sitting here saying, oh man, I'm trying to reconcile that I spend all my money on Amazon and things get delivered, that is not true. What is happening are people expect that to happen, yes, but they also want amazing physical brick and mortar experiences. We want to have visceral relationships. We don't want to just have these transactions because they don't have any feel. Nostalgia. Spoke about this yesterday. Just want to reiterate the fact it's a massive category. LPs are about sort of $2 billion. Amazing. And everybody's running around town with retro cameras. Hipster doofuses have these film cameras, and I love that vibe, man. I'm an old photographer, so I'm into it. So here's what's amazing, though. This was a very popular app till Apple pulled it out. This is an app that turned an iPhone into an iPod. Amazing. But this is the thing, and this is why I'm coming back to this. In 2024, probably for the next 18 to 24 months, people are going to be talking about happiness in new ways. Why? Because we're spending all that time in our workspace, and we really need to be happy. So what does this all mean, and why does it matter? So I'm a brand marketer guy. I do branding, marketing, consulting, advisory. And I also speak. And what's amazing about that for me is that while we're at the cusp of this fourth industrial revolution that's powered by these 3 industries, and now it's powered by this, when people say, you know, I had a giggle to myself because, you know, Jitech said, you know, it's all about what you can enable with AI or something. You joking? This thing has been on here for 10 years, man. We just now have a graphical user interface in front of it. It's not new, but we love shiny objects, so we're anchoring on it. But whether it's disruption or whether you worry about brand experience or whether you worry about transformation, it doesn't really matter. All of these things are designed to help us connect better, period, full stop. True or false? True. These are the things that people want to talk about all the time, but I'm just here for fun. So we will get to the workshop piece in a minute. trust me. But let me give you a story. So I entered the internet before some of you guys were born, and I loved it for a while. But Web 2 got pretty hairy for me, man. The internet was hating on me for a while. I thought, I can't trust this vibe. So I bounced because I didn't trust it. So all I decided to do was think about my relationship to brands and people differently. Because the job is to get your brand to people and get people to your brand. That's it. They don't teach you that in school because you got to go through 4 years of it apparently. But that is the entire gig of what we're trying to do here. All of us that are enabled in employment. But what does this mean? It means if you just do one thing well, great. But if you're not thinking about the totality of people's needs in the wild, you're probably not going to survive as a company. And for me, it's not about things like omni-channel. It's really about ecosystems. So what are you doing in the interconnected ecosystem of humans? What do I mean by that? When you wake up in the morning and you do an action, whether you grab your phone and check your email or check out what's going on in social, drop over to news, etc., you are doing what's called a need state. And as you go throughout your day, your needs for this connection are going to change throughout the day. That's why it's an ecosystem, not omni-channel. So you have to fit within that ecosystem some part of the day. Very few companies can fit in that ecosystem all day. And they pretend they sit in it all day because authenticated logins and all of that sort of rubbish. But I would debate it. So let's talk about where this goes. The trends feel like this. 10 years ago, it was about personalization. Hello, Shingy, welcome to Dubai. Personalization, cool. But really what I want is customization, don't I? Hello, Shingy, welcome to Dubai. It's really hot, but you seem to love jazz. Here's a great jazz club that's not going to be in the burning heat or drop you off at the harbour and make you work 25 minutes at Terminal B. I learned that once. You only have to do that once to realize we need to learn, apparently. But customization, but that's not what we want. What we're looking for is humanization. And why? Because we're all like this. We're all these types of humans, according to Harvard. But as technology changes our behaviors, what it doesn't do is change our needs. And everything that we have today has built-in intelligence. Every single thing has built-in intelligence. The watch you have on, the phone you have on there, the phone that you're dicking around with now, all of these things that we have, all of these things that we have in our places, all of these things we have in our cars, they all have interconnected devices that are actually building intelligence on us. But I come from the world of marketing and design. Anybody else? Okay. I could be in the wrong tent, by the way. I could go across the road to Marketing Mania or something. I don't get this whole situation at all, dude, but whatever. I'm here for it. Here's the deal. Hey, when you started marketing, brother, did they teach you this, 4 Ps? Your school's design. Who's marketing? Did you learn this 4 Ps? Yeah. Do you know when these were invented? 1948. This is not relevant today, by the way. So they don't teach this. They still teach it, but it's not relevant. And if you want to know what's relevant, it's simply this. The 4 Ps are now not this. They've been updated. And the updated feel of this feels like that. It's platforms, it's pedigree, it's partnership and performance. It's very, very, very different than the things that they taught back in the design schools and the marketing schools that the rest of us went to. But here's where we're headed. All we are trying to do is get people to brands and brands to people. I said that to you, period, full stop. But here's what's also amazing about that. There are only 3 other things you need to worry about. We are in the business of connecting people through sight, sound, and motion. Why? To drive emotion. 75% of purchase decisions today are to the heart. Then you justify it to the head. Think about the last time you bought a big purchase. You're like, oh my God, what have I done? But there's a reason you bought that thing. It's emotion, emotion, emotion. But there's so many things that we talk about that's all based on transaction. True or false? True. If I go walk the halls with you right now, we all just go do a group walk down that shit, everyone's going to say, hey man, we're 10 times faster. We are much more better at doing efficiency in our data scour. This is the way it's all about performance. I don't care about performance. I care about what you're doing to kick me emotionally. I'm from Australia, if you can't tell by my accent. This is the house. This is the house I was born in. This is my family. I'm one of 10 kids, dude. That's 12 people, 2-bedroom house, and a ton of therapy. But Chinese Catholics, man, we are unstoppable. But I will tell you that I'm of the generation that when you bought your first car, freedom, independence, and self-expression was yours. That's not the generation anymore. You know that 37% of children under the age of 2 can operate a swiping device better than their parents. Incredible. And it's only getting worse. The average age of a kid getting a cell phone with a separate data plan in the US is 7 years old. I don't know what it is here in the Middle East. I mean, you guys have 98% cell phone penetration, so it's probably very high. You give a kid analog, they think it's broken. You know that. So look, it's no longer consumers consuming content. And here, as you walked in today, you were just wondering, what are we going to be talking about? I am going to go analog in a moment. But I will tell you that creators and critics and curators are the new thing you need to worry about. Passivity is no longer a value. We have to think about things differently. Why? Because this generation is different. And they do things like extreme selfies. It's completely imperfect. We know that. All of this to tell you that the industry that I grew up in is changing. Why? Because people would prefer friends over ads. They prefer peer-to-peer. And they absolutely prefer word of mouth. And those are all the values that people care about. Let me just confirm that. Who's bought something on the internet recently? Okay. Who clicked on an ad recently? Ish? Social ad or a website? What was it? A product ad. On a social platform? Yeah. Anybody click on an ad on the open web? No. That's why they have a 0.01% click-through rate. Doesn't work so much. By the way, that funded my career. It's been amazing until now because things have changed. So we like these old world variables. We like word of mouth. We love peer-to-peer. We love reviews. It's incredible. What is also coming is curated commerce, more so in Asia than everywhere else. The idea of live, limited edition, gotta buy it now. It's crazy. That's not new. That's 20 years in the making. We just have a different platform for it now. But you are really here to inspire, obviously educate, and inform. Now, what does this really do for us? As we swipe our way through life, it actually allows us to feel completely overwhelmed. And then we feel underwhelmed because you can't find what you're looking for. So where am I taking you? I'm taking you to a place that says, we're stressed out. Okay, but here's the good news. If all of this is happening in a world of phubbing, where just two of us, so if this gentleman and I were having a conversation and he does that to me, where he pulls his phone out to find out where he could escape, that's called phubbing. We all do it. We're all guilty of it, aren't we? It's like, yeah, that's really important. We do that. I'm like, oh, wow, we just broke our connection. But what's happening here is that we're suffering from brand fatigue. Brand fatigue. So let me explain. When we think about the world of intelligence, who is actually using AI in their day-to-day to do creation of something? Is it mainly text, or is it images, or give me something, videos? What are you doing, dude? Images and text coding. Oh, scripting? Amen. So you're a great prompter, I assume. Software engineer, yes, very good at prompting, this young man. C:// //, God bless you. But this is where we're at, man. When you think about what's going to happen in the industry of creativity, the number of jobs by this year, 2030, is only 7.5 of those jobs will actually be AI 100%. It's great tools. So I'm here to say I'm a massive fan of it. Except it's a bit dopey. Look at this, man. Look at what happens to an AI in the wild and you just put in some bad prompts, because we're not all brilliant software engineers like my friend in the front row. We end up with this, but it's getting better. There is something dystopian about AI today, isn't there? But if I was to show you an ad that is 6 years old, this is an AI ad. Let me explain. The story, the script, this is why AI is not new. The story, the script, all of that was generated by AI. But here's the deal. That was directed by a human. And if I play this to you, and I happily send this to you in the deck, this is an incredibly cold car commercial. This was never released by Lexus, because you look at it and think, something is very off. There's something not quite right about it, but we're getting better. Okay, so this is a really good example of what happens when you do get AI correct. Do I have audio or no? Probably not. My friends over there, do I have some audio? What do you reckon? Let me explain what's happening here. This is a Bollywood actor. And what's happening here is, well, I'll show you for a second. No, I don't have audio. What's happening with him is he is actually telling you, you can kill it. That's not my audio. I'm loving this soundtrack, but it's not mine. That gentleman, Bollywood, you guys know who that actor is, I assume? More so than I do. There are thousands of ads that have been hyper-localized because AI has allowed him to sync into, instead of being a national ad for Cadbury, he's talking about things in hyper-local context. So that's a great use of AI. So instead of him doing 1,000 voiceovers, he does one, and it's tuned to hyper-local shopping. Cool, right? That's cool AI. Here's a really good example of AI as well in the wild. This is Stella Artois. It's a beer brand. They use data and AI to scour thousands of old paintings to determine the probability of the beer in the painting being a Stella Artois. How dope is that? Because they're an old brewery, they wanted to see how much historically their product has been represented. Pretty amazing. And then you've got this. The ability to think about attention really is about intention. Why do I say that? Today, when we're doing this with our phone, if you actually decide to go and buy something on a social platform, that's an intention. It's not about attention. Attention's passive. When we engage, it suddenly becomes an intention. So we're in the intention economy. But we have to worry about being bold over bland. Let me just show you some basic old brands that do it really well. This is IKEA. They came up with these incredible outdoor ads that says, "We're proudly second best." What's number one is a baby resting on the mother, not sitting in a cold IKEA crib. They do these incredible ads, proudly second best. So they're happy not to be the step stool. They're happy for the parent to be the step stool because clearly that's the number one priority. And I show you all of this just to say that in the world of ads, we're just trying to be better at the way we do stuff, because if we're going to automate things, when we try and target people emotionally, let's just be better at it. You're not going to like this, or you may love it. I don't know, but I'm just going to give you it anyway. IKEA did this incredible campaign that said, if you're pregnant, you pee on this page, and if you are, it reveals a highly discounted product price for that product, which I thought was a really innovative way of thinking about print in the wild. And then, of course, we've got incredible things that happen. Here in the Middle East, you do outdoor beautifully. The rest of the world could learn from the way that you do outdoor, because you have these beautiful, big emotional moments. It's all about emotion. So I want to talk a little bit about how we get there. Anybody know what this is? What is it? Toothpicks. Yeah, thank you. Anybody know who invented the toothpick? The Japanese. So you ever been to a Japanese restaurant? Yep. You got a bowl and you've got a rest on your bowl, a saucer. You got a napkin, you got a rest on the saucer, it's a chopstick. You got rest for your chopsticks. If you break the top of a chopstick off, that's a rest for your chopstick. If nothing else out of meeting you today, if that's all you take away from my presentation, I'll be a happy man. Just kidding. So I'm telling you that to say that craft matters. If we're going to live in a world that's completely automated, craft matters. I'm going to skip this because my audio is not working, so it doesn't matter. I'll send you the link. And what I think I want to do is pause there and jump into workshop. Are you guys okay with that? Yeah, I heard a yes for that. Amen. Let's do it. Okay. All right, I'm switching gears. And the reason I'm switching gears, I have 22 minutes left. I'm going to give you some IP. And the reason for that is a bunch of you harassed me yesterday and said, so what are the tools you use? How do you create creativity? How else can I extend the things that I do as a thinker, as a leader, as somebody as a team member? Let me ask some questions. Does anybody in here believe that creativity matters? Ah, bless. Anybody don't think it matters? Anybody in here believe it can be taught? Can creativity be taught? Show of hands. Some of us. Yep, okay. You don't believe it can be taught? All right, no, you don't think it can be taught? Okay, so this is the deal. Check it out. Of those who are super curious about whether, we're not the only ones asking ourselves this, by the way. So as automation comes, as technology comes here to take our job, we have to worry about creativity. And do we care? Oh, some of us really seem to care about that. There's almost 90 million search results on can creativity be taught. Wow. So if I flip that around and say, if it can be taught, how many books do we think are available in Amazon around can creativity be taught? Well, let me give you a data point. 44,000 books out there telling you that creativity can be taught. So heads up. If anybody in this room wants to write a book, my word of advice to you is do not write on that subject. That is incredibly saturated as far as I'm concerned. So amen. So what's hot? Capturing creativity. Before I do that, I want to ask you a question. Does anybody believe in process here? Yep. Oh, okay. Well, let's do an exercise. Could I have some help? Could you help me? Could somebody help me? Can you guys help me distribute something? Yeah. Can you help me? Yeah, we're monks friends. Yeah. Do this. Can we hand that out? Did anybody come here with a pen? Do you mind handing a couple of those out for me? Did anybody bring pens? Okay, I've got some markers. I've got some paper, believe it or not. Can we hand those out? Maybe just take one and pass them on. Yeah, you got a pen. Thank you. Okay. Who said they believe in process? That means the rest of you don't? Okay, we're not friends yet? No, we're not all here? Okay. Can we get that paper out as quickly as possible? I'm sorry, I should have done this earlier, but welcome to my world. Will you guys do an exercise for me? So this is an exercise on whether or not processes work. And what I'm handing out right now, a couple of pieces of paper, which will help you understand what I'm talking about. So here is what I'm handing you. It's a piece of paper with some numbers on it. And I want to give you 60 seconds when we've all got it, and when everybody has a pen, hopefully we have enough pens. Shall I help hand out those pens? Hopefully we have enough pens for you. Yeah, brother? Yeah, you have one? You have one? Take a pen there, man. Okay, has everybody got a piece of paper? Let's get some pens to you. Okay, are we good? How many workshops have been happening today? Can I get this guy a pen, brother? What am I doing? I got a fistful of markers. You need a pen? Anybody need a pen? Has everybody got a piece of paper? Is everybody ready for the disco? What's ever happening next door? Is that coming from us? It's coming from outside? Is that my cue to speed the hell up? Okay, that piece of paper. They're coming to take us away, guys. Here's what I want you to do. Take 60 seconds. I want you to sequentially number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As quickly as you can, do as many as you can. Make sense? Yeah, so try and find the numbers in sequence. 1, 2, 3, yeah. Circle them. Go. I want you to circle as many as you can. Find as many numbers in sequence. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Does that make sense? Handing some of that out too? Yeah, we'll just do this. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stop. Okay, quick question. Who did more than 10? Genius. Who did more than 20? Okay. Who did more than 30? Okay. Those who did 20, what number? What number? 32? 22? 22? Anybody do more than 22? Okay, great. Turn the page over for a second. Did you draw it on it twice? Is yours empty on the back? Okay, what if I fold the paper in half? Yeah, fold the paper in half like this. Straight down the middle. And then fold it again. Like that. So I want you to fold the paper so it looks like that. Are we good? Open it up. Open it up once you've folded it. Do we all have 4 squares? Okay, the blank page, I want you to start with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 again, sequentially. I'm going to give you another minute. It was actually 2 minutes. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to circle as many as you possibly can, starting now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stop. That was 1:30, by the way. Did it feel like 10 minutes? Felt like a long time for me. Okay, put your hand up if you did more than 20. Keep your hand up if you did more than 30. Keep your hand up if you did more than 40. Keep your hand up if you did more than 50. Keep your hand up if you did more than 60. How many did you do? 65. How many did you do prior? 21. I'm here to tell you that processes work. Steal that exercise from me. I will send you the PDF without my QR on it. When you're stuck in a room and people are like, processes don't work, or you're in a round table and people are like, what's up? That's game number 1. We good? Let me give you some other tools real quick before the DJ Melly Melb next door comes and beats our head up. Survey done by IBM, one of the biggest companies on planet Earth. What do you think was the number 1 value that they said would make them remain a global top company in the world? I'm leading the horse to water. Clearly, it's creativity. And guess what? I don't care whether you're a software engineer or you're an artist. We're all creatives in here. And I'm here to give you those tools to understand that creativity matters. And guess what we don't invest in? Creativity. So let me give you something else to think about. Of children under the age of 5, what percentage of that population do you think, so kids under the age of 5, what percentage do you think are geniuses? Have the longitudinal IQ of a genius? Anybody want to have a guess? How many? 70? 10%? We don't know, do we? Look how those numbers are. So it's 98%. We're born geniuses. It's incredible. I'm sorry this room, I was hoping it to be a lot more intimate, but that sound is going to start. I'm not yelling at you, I'm just thumping at you apparently. So kids are super creative. And we know that. They solve problems in different ways than we do. So I want to give you some tools to think about this. How many times have you guys been in a brainstorm or a meeting where somebody says, we don't know each other very well. Can we just go around the circle and tell us something you can't find about you on the internet or something like that? Do people do those exercises? They stink. 2 reasons. 2 reasons they stink. First one is I'm not going to listen to you telling me your story because I'm going to have to be thinking about a goddamn story. And secondly, when you tell me your story, mine's going to suck. So now I'm going to have to think of a better story of something that comes up. It doesn't help icebreak. I'm going to give you a great icebreaker. I'm from Australia. I grew up with this guy called Mr. Squiggle. It was a TV show. And this TV show this guy would get sent a squiggle. Does everybody know what a squiggle is? It's a curly thing on a line of a paper. I'll show you in a second. And he finishes it. So I want to show you what to do. Grab a piece of paper, everybody, that's on the floor or near you. Does anybody need a pen? Do you not have any paper, guys? I'll get you some. Does anybody need a pen? Has everybody got a pen? Here, guys, grab this. Okay, I want you guys to don't follow mine, but a squiggle is a random line on a page. Just do one real quick. Random line on a page. Don't overthink it. Hand it to the person you don't know next to you. Hand it to somebody. Hand that piece of paper to somebody. Dude, you need a piece of paper, brother. Does anybody need a partner? Does anybody need a squiggle partner? You good? Dude, yeah. Do it again for you. You good? Anybody need a partner? Everybody has a random squiggle from somebody, yes? Take 30 seconds and draw something out of that squiggle, please. Oh, you need a partner? Ooh. Can I borrow this for a second? Draw something out of that squiggle. I'll give you one in a sec, bud. I just stole your pen. Great. Draw anything you like. Please don't overthink it. Whoa. Whoa. All right. Thank you for participating. Oh my God, you phoned it in. Okay. Just hold them up for me real quick. Oh, really good. Okay. Oh, yeah, these are really good. Who drew a face? Okay, I tell you what I see. I do this universally, by the way. You drew an infinity. You drew an infinity? Okay. So this is what happens. I do this universally to a bunch of smart executives who are like, what the hell is this person doing to us? Two things. One, I always see faces. I always see reptiles. Who drew a snake or a lizard or a thing? Dragon? All right. Who drew a landscape? Beach scene? Yeah, I see them all the time. There are two things that will do. Two things that's the best way to do an icebreaker. One, you get to act like a child. Two, you get to participate. The two things that make people happy in the workplace is participation and recognition. Participation, recognition. I'm going to come back. I'm going to qualify that with another exercise shortly. So that's what squiggling does. It just allows you to just do something random. I drew a reptile, apparently. We know this quote by Albert Einstein. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Amen. But what does it mean? It means that people who are built in one side of their brain, like engineers and scientists, also typically exercise the other side of their brain, like this. And I don't know, anybody know that Albert Einstein was a classically trained concert-level violinist? Isn't that amazing? A person who'd probably rather stand in the corner and not speak to people, who was able to split atoms, came up with this. He was able to be this incredible violinist. So when you think about both sides of your brain, one side of your brain is taught to do what's linear and lists and math, right? The brain is actually not divided into two, but let's stay with me spiritually. So one side is designed for one, the other side is designed for that, isn't it? Imagination, color, awareness, etc. But here's where it becomes fascinating. At school, I assume in your schools, just like in the West, we did this. True? Languages, biology, math, bio, blah, blah. And then the other side was that. So when you enter the workplace, which side are you told to drop first? For most of us. The other side, the white side, right? The only thing that we enjoyed in life for most of us, except for you mathematicians. Love that. So, wrong room, Shingy, wrong room. But here's what's amazing. If you ever studied this, I am encouraging you to get back to it. Because this will get you into life, this will get you through life. Capiche? All right, so here's where we go. Where do the best ideas come from? Somebody can talk to me if you can. Somebody. Where do your best ideas come from? Experiences, I hear. Explanation? Cross-pollination? Solving a problem is the problem? Knowledge? Looking at other places? Anyone else? Oh, discussion? Shower! Stand up, sir. Okay, this man in this great-looking Prince of Wales suit just said shower. Did anybody else say that? Shower. Shower. Here's where that leads us. Running, walking the dog, driving the car, showering. Psychedelics. We could talk about that another time. We'll be talking about that after this meeting, apparently. Here's the deal. Guess I've done this 1,000 years. Guess what I've never told where best ideas come from? The boardroom. How often are you forced into a room, a hot room, to be told, let's come up with great ideas? It happens all the time. Why do they come from there? Thank you. Because you're not forced in a boardroom. You get to do something different. He's not washing his hair in the shower, though, by the way. But when you're doing this showering routine, your brain gets to wander. Your brain gets to go to another part of this place that you can explore. We all are creatives. We just don't use those tools enough. So, anybody meditate in here? Thank God, now I'm in the right room. If you meditate, these are some of the rates of your brain. Yes? What rate in meditation will allow you to get your best ideas? Anybody want to shout it out of these 5? Anybody want to randomly have a guess? Which one? A theta? So let me explain. Gamma, let's go delta. Delta is basically asleep, yes? Gamma is the heightened state of ecstasy, which you can get to through transcendental meditation. You do not have to take ecstasy to reach that. Don't do drugs. Just kidding. Here's the rate where best ideas come from. Alpha, daydream state. Okay, stay with me. This is why that's important. Anybody know who this is? Salvador Dali. Anybody know his process? Here's his process. He was a napper. So he'd sit in the same chair every single day with a silver spoon in his hand and goes to fall asleep and bang, spoon would hit the floor, he'd wake up, he'd see visions. He wasn't into illicit drugs apparently, not until later on in life. But he came up with ideas through sleeping. So sleep is incredibly critical. So remember, I said what makes people happy is contribution and recognition. So we have about 4 minutes. I want to talk about 2 processes with you real quick. And then ping me later, I'll tell you how to explore them correctly. Zen writing. Does anybody know who this is? Stevie Wonder. He's one of the most award-winning songwriters on planet Earth. His process of writing is that he writes down ideas in a time capsule of 2 minutes at a time. And all he does is just writes all the thoughts he has about an idea he's trying to solve or a song he's trying to write, and he just stops in 2 minutes. And he sits back and says, is this good or is this bad? Because what happens when you don't do that, if you don't get ideas out quickly and you don't flush those ideas, you end up procrastinating. You end up hanging out on social media. You end up pretending you're going to write an email. You end up having too much coffee. And you end up sitting there going, oh my God, it's the end of the day. I got to push that thing out. I'm late. True or false? So try Zen writing. The other technique I want to show you is this, mind mapping. Now, mind mapping is an interpersonal relationship of drawing. It uses the visual cortex. So when his information comes in here, it taps into the back of your vega, and that's how you do memory recall. But let me explain what mind mapping is. Great thinkers were criticized for this, by the way. This is a mind map from Albert Einstein. This is a mind map from somebody you may have heard of, Christopher Columbus in the US. This is John F. Kennedy from the US, and this is Van Gogh. So what it is a principle that's the opposite of how most of us are taught. I come from the West. We are taught basic ordering of ideas. Top left, bottom right. Anybody else taught that way? So you're taught to write from the left to the bottom right. Yes or no? Yes. 95% of the global population learn that way, and it is absolutely rubbish. Here's why. We are founded upon a natural way of thinking, and we're not taught to do that. So this is what mind maps do. Grab a piece of paper. Can you guys hang out for 5 more minutes so I don't have to really rush at this? All right, hang out with me, because I'm the last one, right? And screw it, everyone else was late today. Bum. I'm late 15 minutes on, so I'm going to suck the air as much as I can before this DJ destroys me today. Blank piece of paper, please. If you lot want to participate, come sit. You've come at the right time. Grab a blank piece of paper. Write in the middle of the piece of paper the word happiness. And you're going to want a blank piece of paper. And if you don't, can I get this guy some paper? Do we have any more markers? Do we have any more pens? Yeah. Would you mind handing it to that young lady there, that pen? Sorry, I know you got your coffee and your croissant or something. Fabulous. All right, I want to give you 3 minutes. Are you going to help? Are you going to participate? Okay. Write the word happiness in the middle of the page, just like I have. And then I want you to do 10 branches. And I want you to do a single word of your definition of happiness. Single words. No sentences. Just, I want 10 words that's your happiness. Does everybody understand the project? Is anybody confused? Goddamn software engineers confused. What do you need, cowboy?
Only one word or?
One word. I want 10 single words. 10 single, and the other thing I don't want you to do is take up the entire page. Don't take up the entire page. Beautiful. Hey man, participate. Give me 10 words. Yes, 10 words. Thank you. Now let me explain. I learned this technique in my early 20s when I lived in Hong Kong, and it stayed with me. I do this every day. So every presentation I plan, every trip I take, personal, work-wise, I use a mind map to plan. I'll explain why I do that in a moment. Is everybody done? Those who are participating? I find this project quite hard to do because happiness is meant to be global, but it's not. Definition of happiness is different. Um, all right, I have some other things I want to talk about, so let's move on. Can I ask you, did anybody have the word music? Great. Those who had the word music, stay with it for a moment. Everyone else that didn't have music, I don't know what the hell is on your list, just kidding. But I hope love is there. I hope family is there. I hope travel or holidays are there. I hope Jai-Tech is there. Hi, Jai-Tech. I hope. But I hope there are things in there that make you happy. Those people had music again? Hands up. Okay. Here's what I want you to do next. So what happens with the mind map is you start in the center like that, and then you start to branch out like that. So what I want you to do is take one branch, and I want you to do 3 words that extend your definition of happiness for that subject. If you did music, I want you to do 3 branches for music. We're going to do a little exercise. I'm going to need a microphone too, please, for these guys. I just need you for 5 more minutes after this, okay? I'm not holding you at ransom. Thank you. Is this hot? Can I get this hot? So I have also just done, in about 3 minutes, what I normally take a whole half day to do. But I just wanted to give you guys some tools that you might find interesting that we can talk about and explore another time, okay? But I want to show you the fastest way to get ideas out. So who did music? Show of hands. Music. Can you please stand up? Just read out your music, 3 things about music that you like. That give you happiness.
Singing, dancing, and what? Yeah, learning new music.
So discovery, singing, dancing. Brother, do you music? Yeah, could you do music?
Yeah, so for me, it was concerts, music production, and drives.
What was it?
It was concerts,
Yeah.
music production, and long drives.
Okay. Long drives? Okay, can you hand it to someone else who did music, please?
I did Rachmaninov, jazz, and opera.
Jazz,
Opera.
opera, and what was the other one?
Rachmaninov Concerto No. 3 in D
Oh my
minor.
God.
But
Okay, classical, love that. Who else did music? Can I get the guy in the front? Thanks, brother. Thanks for doing running.
I got live, guitar, and classic.
Classical?
Yes.
Okay. Somebody else? Did you do live? Did you do music? Do you mind?
Concert, events, and interviews.
What was the last one?
Interview.
Interviews. Did you do music? Did you read yours out? Oh, you did yours? Oh, this is yours. I stole her page. Techno, headphones, and loud. Did you do one? Can I get a mic on her too, please? Watch this. Last one.
Dance, concerts, and long drives also. While
Oh
driving.
my God. So this is what happens. Right. We did a circle. We did 10 branches. We took one topic that seems universal, true, and then I asked you to do 3 topics around happiness. The overlap on there was very minimal, except for these 2, which clearly should be dating, apparently. But what's amazing is the list was nuts. I mean, I didn't take your list, I apologize. But we got drives to production, to jazz, to opera, to classical, to guitar, to concerts, to live, to discovery. So here's what happens. When you guys do brainstorming sessions on yourself, just go ahead and create mind maps. They're amazing. And I'll show you what they look like in a second, fully completed. The second thing is, when you're with teams and you ask them to do mind maps together, it's a very fast way to get ideas out on paper without having to use long words. You with me? Because we're in a world now where you'd like to search through keywords instead of searching through paragraphs. True or false? Yes. So this is a very good technique. And just like yoga, you need to give it a practice. You have to do it a few times. It's going to feel uncomfortable the first time, weird the second time, and maybe it just takes after the 3rd time. I've been doing it for 30 years. It's incredible. That's what a mind map starts to look like. This is what real mind maps can look like, where you can actually include drawings. Anybody here a classically trained artist? So if I asked you to do a portrait, it wouldn't look like that one, right? It's probably going to look more like that one. Yeah, technical stuff. I love that. Most of us, if I said do a self-portrait, probably looks a bit like the one on the left, yes? That's a drawing of her self-portrait after 3 hours of illustration training, non-dominant hand. Amazing what can happen when you draw, but the rest of us kind of draw like this, crappy. But this is what a classic mind map looks like. Center idea, lots of branches that say these are the things I care about. You isolate them, you use color for emphasis, you use drawing, and you use words. You don't just always use words, and you never use things like iPads. We use pencil and paper for this. I go into big meetings with a whopping big art pad and a bunch of kids' squeaky markers, and people are like, what's wrong with this guy? And what I do is I can put an entire meeting down, a whole half day, all on one piece of paper. And why do I do that? How many times have you been in a meeting where you're like, just 1 second, I just need to get to the notes that are really important? Remember at school, you hear a lecture, you're like, oh, I've got to take down every single note that lecturer is saying. They're speaking too fast. And then what happens? You go home and you never open those bloody notebooks up again. Why? Because we're using the wrong way of capturing ideas. So I want to show you one other idea. These are all mind maps, by the way. That's somebody mind mapping one of my presentations. That's somebody mind mapping one of my presentations. They can look and feel very different. Brainstorms. I'm going to finish with this. Who does brainstorms in here? Okay, and if you don't, I promise you in your career, you're going to be asked to lead a brainstorm. So the things I want you to do is when you ice break, don't do that, tell me something about you I don't know. Rubbish. Start with a squiggle exercise. Why? We act like kids. I'm allowing you to participate differently. He and I are now engaging with each other that we never did before. We break the ice in a new way. Okay, the second thing is, when we do brainstorms, most of them really do suck. And here's what I need you to think about. There's a couple of techniques you can use. Anybody here from the film industry? Okay, when we did commercials back in the day, we would use things called storyboards. You guys know what these are? Let me go back. Storyboards. So if you're with a group of people and we're like, we're just trying to get to the idea, don't sit there and go, well, how do we think the idea? Just go, tell me what it would look like if it was a commercial. It doesn't matter what the problem is. What would it feel like if it was a commercial? Once upon a time. Okay, let's write it down and we just script it out. That's one technique I've used for many years. It's not my favorite technique. But if you're stuck in a room, you're like, oh, we just can't seem to crack the problem, try this other exercise. It's called odd connections. You grab two things that don't look like they work together and we try and figure out their connections. What's similar about these two objects? Red, energy, love that, healthy, shiny, whatever. So in a couple of seconds, we can get some association that isn't trying to solve the problem that we walked in with. But here's my favorite, brain cycling. So this is a technique where I think you can all empathize. The best ideas don't come from boardrooms. They come from hanging out, walking the dog, having a shower, doing something other than being stuck in a hot room solving a problem. But if you're stuck in a room solving a problem because you're not controlling the meeting, try this. You write up on a whiteboard the problem you're trying to solve. With me? You look at the number of pages, chairs that you have in the boardroom table, and you lay down a piece of paper, preferably a big one, in front of each chair. Yes? And when people come into the room, don't let them sit. Have them stand at the table, take 2 minutes, and ask them to write a paragraph or a sentence to the problem on the whiteboard you're about to solve, in silence. And then we spend 2 minutes writing down the paragraph. You with me so far? And then we do this. We move. So you start like that, and then you move to the left. Does that make sense? So let me just go back to this. I don't know why it's scooting on, but hang on. You do that. So you've written a paragraph, you move to the next person's, you write a paragraph to that person's paragraph. You write to the next one, you write a sentence or a paragraph to that person's paragraph. You with me? So you end up at the very end, you're back at your piece of paper with your original sentence or paragraph, once upon a time. And then everybody else has done what to your paragraph? Contributed to helping you solve that problem. You with me? And then this is how we participate. You create a quadrant. So I bet you never thought a creative guy would come up here and talk about quadrants for sake. No. So this is what quadrants do. How many times have you been in a, oh, well, I'll tell you how many times I have. About 1,000. I walk into incredible business spaces and they're like, Shingy, I want to show you my innovation center. Please do. walk in their room, and all I see is a sea of Post-it notes. And I say to myself, there is absolutely nothing getting done in this company. Why? Because I haven't ordered the ideas. Here's what I want you to do. You create what I call an impact quadrant. You create 4 boxes, and you have impact, effort. And all you do is you say, each one of us read out that entire script that we went around and created. And then together as a group, we say, out of that, we're going to write down this sentence. This sentence equals that paragraph. And then we say, what do we all think? Do we think that this problem has high impact and is low effort? If we say it is, we do it. If we say this one that this came up with, that this guy came up with, what do we think? Is it going to be really hard to do and really low effort? Yeah. Okay, then we put in the kill list. We don't talk about it. So the idea is that very quickly, we've taken all these ideas and we've democratized it. And we start to have Post-it notes scattered throughout this quadrant. And then you become efficient. You assign these, you don't talk about these, and you challenge the rest. Does that make sense? And I promise you, it'll take days of brainstorming. It'll take days of disorganized creativity and allow you to isolate these ideas into a very, very short time. That is the fastest way to create great ideas that keep people satisfied, that actually help people feel like they've participated and contribute to the wealth of that company. You with me? But again, if you look at this quote, one of my all-time favorite, nothing's impossible. The actual word itself says, I'm possible. But hey guys, thanks for letting me hang out for an extra 10 minutes. I'm Shingy. I'll see you on the interwebs. Take care.
Awesome. Thanks, David. Great work. Well done for staying with us. We're at the end of a long day, so time to take a break. There's various entertainments out at the different parts of the venue, so take time to walk around the spaces and the exhibition hall. We'll be back here tomorrow. Tomorrow's the focus is on embedded finance. We'll be looking at partnerships. We'll be looking at opportunities in the space and some of the challenges and the roadblocks along the way. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you back here at 11 o'clock tomorrow. Have a great evening. Bye.